Good morning. You're in the loop. Every week we talk with the people who make San Antonio a better place to live. Thanks for joining us in the loop. Here's your host, Milton Glick.
And welcome to In the Loop. That's exactly what we do, although there's a different variation today, as we are going to talk about people and organizations that make South Texas a better place to live. Our guest today is Hugh Farr, Chief Development Officer with Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Texas. And you may notice that Hugh is very, very passionate about what he does. And it's a great story. I'm really looking forward to the interview. Hugh, how you doing? Welcome to In the Loop.
Thank you so much. It's a delight to be with you and your audience today. Thank you.
Yeah, they're going to learn a lot. This is good, and there's lots of opportunities for them to get involved as well. So let's do this, Hugh. Let's start off with history and mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Texas. Cool?
Of course, that's wonderful. We were founded in 1904, and it came out of the New York City Juvenile Court. A gentleman by the name of Ernest Coulter began to notice that there were many fatherless boys who were coming through the courtroom, and he decided that they needed an adult positive role model. And it started with men, that is, started with boys, and then once that began to develop legs and pick up momentum, we began to also then help young women in the same way. And here we are about 100 years later, and Big Brothers Big Sisters, now fully encompassing both boys and girls, sees to match children who are under-resourced with a positive adult role model so that they can live their dream, realize their vision, and also along the way develop a lifelong friendship. And essentially what our mission is to distill it into a more concise thought is we strive to provide children who are facing adversity with strong, enduring, professionally supported one-to-one mentoring relationships. And we hope that these relationships endure for a lifetime and that they change the child's life for the better, and that for the better lasts, that it sticks. And hopefully that child, when they become an adult, will see themselves perhaps as the next big brother or big sister to help the next generation.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious whether that happens a lot. San Antonio or South Texas is celebrating 50 years. Do I have that right?
Yes, next year we will celebrate 50 years. We've been in operation here with this mission in heart and mind. In fact, the founding president and CEO is currently a board member emeritus with us, and it's great to have such a living legacy, hand the baton in a real way to the current president and CEO who just celebrated her 25th anniversary in the role. So a lot of anniversaries, a lot of special things that we're celebrating, but it all ties back to this mission that we are, as you rightly said, so very passionate about, because we are essentially building the human capital locally for the next generation and beyond. And yes, there are some cases where former children or who are now adults, when they were in the program, they were littles, as we call them. Mm-hmm. They are now adults, and many times, many of them, they say, you know what, I remember what was done for me, and now it's my turn to do that for the next generation.
That is so cool.
It's very cool. It's very powerful.
Yeah, our guest today is Hugh Farr. He is the Chief Development Officer with Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Texas. Hugh, do me a favor, too. Will you kind of paint the picture of the littles in 2025 and what challenges they face and how you help them with that?
Yes, of course. Well, as you know, there are infinitely more distractions than you and I were growing up. We never had smartphones. I can barely remember when we had a couple of lines, landlines in the house, much less devices that were as smart as they are now. And with that, social media and so many other distractions that just were not part of my generation. And yet children are still being born, they're still growing up, and they're still learning and trying to develop. And so with all of those added challenges and so many more nonprofits working in the space of youth development, many of them, like us, I think, doing great work, important work, meaningful work, it just means that we have more to do to help these young people develop into who they wish to be, and eventually develop their post-high school plan. What will their plan for themselves be when they graduate high school? What will they do? What path will they take? And with all those distractions, that's why now more than ever we feel strongly that sowing into a child's life, a youth's life, a positive, professionally supported adult role model who will help them develop their spark, help them realize what they wish to become, whatever career path they might choose, or maybe a military career, or maybe pursue higher education, or maybe something in the trades. That's a career path that's very, very lucrative and certainly in greater need every day. And so we work to recruit bigs from across our community. I'll say this about the ladies in our community. They answer the call much more so than men do, and that's not to slam my fellow men, you or anybody else. It's just to say that they say yes more often than we do. And where I'm going with this particular point is that we always need men. Why? Because there's so many boys who need a positive male role model to help them with things like, professional grooming, professional dress, how to prepare for an interview, things like, going out to fix a car or changing a tire or understanding things like the stock market or how to save for the future. What does it mean to make repairs to a bicycle, or as simple as just going to get a haircut. All those things that sure, they can go find and learn about with anyone, but if they have an adult, a male adult role model, that can be very powerful, because there's some things that men just understand and live with that women don't, and there are things that girls do with women that we as boys and guys don't understand and don't do. We can learn, hopefully we can learn, but it's through that one-to-one relationship that we hope lasts a lifetime. They'll develop not just a lifelong friendship, but real deep understanding and appreciation for what they have, where they're going, and realization of a bright future.
Hugh, talk a little bit too about, we'll kind of break it down into the different people, but I do want to kind of do a little promotion for what I'm just going to do it now. So what do I get out of being a mentor, a big?
Okay. Well, I can speak to that personally because a year and a half ago I became a big, and what I've gotten out of it has been this wonderful sense of fulfillment from the fact that when I least expect to think that I have any influence, certainly positive influence in the life of this young man that I'm working with, in my own particular case, he surprises me because he is actually listening and paying attention to what I'm suggesting, and hopefully that's helping to ensure that I'm giving good advice and aware of the influence that I have. And I think if I did not have this young man in my life, I would be less aware of that and the power and the influence that I have. And I think, to your question, what is the benefit? The benefit is knowing that you, in every interaction you spend with a child that you're matched with, is going to deliver many, many positive outputs and outcomes. It will lead to discovery, to understanding, to ensuring that I, as the big, am transmitting and modeling really good behavior, so it helps to keep me in line and on track, and to think about how and what I say, and the importance and impact of the words that I choose and the way that I convey what I want, what I think that this child needs. And a lot of times it isn't even just talking, it's just listening. And we know that active listening is a skill that requires all the work in the world. We have to become better active listeners more and more all the time. And so this experience can enhance an adult, the big that is, in all those competencies and more. And I think it's so fulfilling because every single big that I've ever talked to, and I'll include myself, all have said that they feel they get more out of this than the child they're working with because of those experiences, because the children surprise us, they make us laugh, they inspire us to be better, they help keep us in line, and they remind us of our shared humanity and how much power we really do have in shaping a child's life. And we can do it for the better. And the other thing that's great is, with an organization like ourselves, we professionally support those bigs. So they're not out figuring this out alone. They're doing it with professional supporting program and case managers and case workers all along the way, who are helping us to be better, to be more adept, and all the while help develop within that child that we're matched with whatever his or her post-high school plan is. Because this is not just about recreation and not just about a friendship, hopefully lifelong, but what is this child going to be when he or she grows up? And that's so critically important. We have so many young people that are zoning out, that are disconnected, that are spending way too much time in front of devices and screens and not engaging in human contact, human interaction. And this program allows for that to happen in so many beautiful ways. And they're real, they're tangible, they're meaningful, and I just want more people to be a part of it and experience the joy and fulfillment that I'm experiencing.
Yeah, and help others, help their littles experience that same joy and confidence. And do me a favor, Hugh. We're going to keep going, obviously, but tell folks where to go to find out more information if we've kind of piqued their interest a little bit. And also tell us what the qualifications are for a BIG and who you need.
Of course. Well, anyone interested in looking more into what we're doing, we welcome them to go to our website, and that's bigmentor.org. All they need to do from there is click on the Volunteer tab, and that's where they get a high-level introduction as to what it means to be a BIG. Number one, you need to be at least 18 years of age. You need to be a high school graduate. You've got to be able to commit to 1 year minimum of your time. The reason for that is because that amount of time will allow one to begin to get their training, that is, the BIG is getting training, but then to develop the relationship at a foundational level with the child, because these children are in various stages of development, and they're going to be a little gun-shy and not willing to open up right away. So that's going to take some time. We need to meet with them at least one time per month. It's also the case that if they have any life changes in the next 6 months, and that could be a marriage, maybe a divorce, a deployment, or maybe having a child of their own, that would probably disqualify a BIG from consideration, because we need the stability factor to be fully ingrained in the relationship. There's a background check and a criminal history, as well as an individual, private, confidential interview, and that's part of our discovery and vetting process. We need your insurance and your driver's license, because San Antonio, although we have a very good public transportation system, you really do need a car in order to be able to move around freely and readily. Then fill out your application, sign up for an orientation, and begin your training with us. And we do put a lot of time and effort into training our BIGs so that they have the best that they can be for those young people. And really, then you're off to the races. And then throughout that time, while they're matched, we on the program side will search and find various free activities for them, or create our own set of match activities, so that the BIGs are not also then bearing the added cost, because so many things are so much more expensive now, trying to find tickets to ball games and theater experiences and other things, so that they can have fun and really get to know one another without having to worry about overspending.
Again, talking to Hugh Farr. He is the Chief Development Officer, Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Texas. When you talk to people who have been a BIG for a while, do they so that again, if we have somebody that's interested, do they tell you, I hesitated because of blank? And are there myths out there? Are there things that we can dispel right now that people may be overly analyzing it, going, I'd never qualify, or it's going to be too hard, or I don't know, but that proved to be not true?
It's funny. Yes, that is very common. I've talked to people who've said, well, I had a couple of traffic tickets. I don't think that this means that I can do that, because I've had this run-in with the law, and I want to dispel that right here and now. That is not a disqualifier. I'm looking for, and we are looking for, passionate people who want to do right by children and help to develop the next generation within the communities in which we live and work and breathe and play. And so, if someone's gotten a traffic accident or had a traffic ticket, or a parking ticket, that's not a disqualifier. It's not at all. We want to work with everyone. I encourage people to go to the website, sign up. You'll fill out the application.
Oh, there you go.
You'll be invited to come back in and begin the process. It really is quite seamless. The amount of time required is not, I think, Herculean. 1 day a month for usually, let's say, 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours tops, to have an excursion to go out and begin to build a lifelong friendship. That's really all that it is. This, by the way, this program is 100% free to the families and children that are enrolled. It costs them nothing. And so we absorb all that cost. We go source grants and have fundraisers and ask for money from various places. We're United Way agency, and we receive monies from multiple sources. But it's never on the back of the family that's looking to enroll their child. Not at all. It's 100% free to them. And that's important to also convey that this program costs nothing for them to be a part of. And we're just looking for good people that want to do right by a child. And I think as more people come into this work and see the transformation, they realize not only how fulfilling that it is, but also frankly, how easy it is. It's really not a Herculean lift on the part of the volunteers to do that. If they're going through a life change of some kind, then I would actively discourage them. That's probably not the right time.
Right.
But maybe later. And if they're not having to deal with that, we want them. In fact, we need them because we are a growing community, leaps and bounds. I think we're up to 2.2 million in our city, and even though we've got that growth, we need to do more. We've begun to emerge from COVID very strongly. I can happily tell you that we're on an upward trajectory where our programming footprint is concerned here in San Antonio and Greater Bexar County, and that's very positive, but it's still not enough. We need to do more because there's so many people who are moving here and our own indigenous population of San Antonians. So we know we need to reach more. We can. We just need the help of the public to say, yes, this is now the time for me to do this. Volunteering also took a hit from COVID. We experienced that ourselves directly. But now things are better, and they've improved, and we need the community to step up and step into a child's life, and I promise it will be among the most rewarding things that they ever do. And they will surprise themselves at how turnkey and easy it is and how fulfilling the whole experience is.
So, Hugh, tell our listeners what impact it has on the families, not just the littles, but the littles' families as well. What do you see?
Well, it's a great question. What I have seen is where some of the children see their siblings, if there are multiple children in one family, and they'll say, well, wait a minute, I'd like a big. You mean someone could come into my life, too, and we could go off and have fun? Can you imagine, Milton, the joy in a child's life when they realize that a McDonald's or Wendy's is not just for a special occasion? That could be something that's, once a month or a couple times a year, or maybe even more often. I'm not necessarily a fast food proponent, but I just mean to say that things that we take for granted mean a lot to a child. I'll never forget one of the first experiences that a former little told me he had was going to Costco, and he'd never seen so much stuff in his life. and we laugh, and it's funny, but it's the case also that if you're from an under-resourced home, then seeing pallets of things is paradigm-shattering. It's amazing. And so I just say with respect to the families, they are also getting the support because, as we've seen, sometimes in families that have multiple members, mom needs a break or grandma needs a break. And when a big comes and takes the child away, that can allow some pressure to be relieved in the family situation. Or mom might say, this child is rambunctious and I need an adult to come and help because I just can't manage this. It's too much with my work and so many other distractions and things that I'm doing. And so that's how the big can help. And if there are multiple children in one family, they can all be served by a big, and they can all have that great experience, they themselves. And we also, by virtue of being a United Way agency and being heavily networked with multiple other agencies doing other things like the Food Bank or Dress for Success or the Salvation Army, we're able to get other resources to those families to help them. Maybe they need school supplies. Maybe they need a winter coat. Maybe they need new shoes. Maybe they just need food. Whatever. Those things are not necessarily things that we directly provide, but by virtue virtue of the robust network of agencies that we work with, we can get those resources to those families faster than otherwise. And it's all about helping to uplift not, of course, just the young people, though that's our primary mission, but their families too. And those families are also trained and take things like parenting classes, a class called Raising Highly Successful Kids. So there are multiple other benefits that the families themselves can participate in and receive by virtue of being in this program. There's a young man that we've been working with, and I say young man, he's an adult now, and he is about to graduate with his MBA, paid for,
wow,
free and clear from the University of Tennessee. He just told me about a week or two ago that he got a job, and he's so excited because this is the most money he's ever seen, and he's so thrilled. His mother might have a third-grade education. He will be the first in his family to go to college and first to get an advanced degree, not just a baccalaureate degree, but a master's degree. He's got a very good job lined up. He is emblematic of the transformation that can happen. And his mother, who is a friend, she has said to me, best decision I ever made was enrolling my son in this program. He's got a brighter future that he will ever have by virtue of this experience. And she knows it and tells everybody that she can about that. And he is going to be something incredible one day. He's just begun his adventure, his life journey, and I'm so excited for him. And I'm eager to just watch it from where I might perch to just see how far he takes it. And I know he's just getting started.
That's very cool. The other thing, Hugh, is you mentioned that the power of becoming a big. Talk a little bit, if you will, about other ways that our listeners, if this touches them, and they're not going to, they for whatever reason they're not going to do that. How else can they be a part? How else can they help Big Brothers, Big Sisters of South Texas?
Well, certainly an easy way to do that would be to make a financial contribution. At bigmentor.org, there's a tab that says donate. If they wish to make a donation of any amount, they certainly can do that. That will help. We also have innumerable number of activities and fundraising events throughout the year. They could volunteer to help us at any one of those. Happy to talk to anyone who wants to help in that regard. We also have boards and councils on which people can volunteer. They do not have to be a big to do that. We have what's called the Black Advisory Council, which is designed to recruit within the African American community. We have what's called the Military Mentoring Advisory Council, which that group is specifically targeting recruitment of bigs from within the various branches of the military. I work very closely with a group called the Resource Development Board, and as the name implies, their job is to help us to raise money, to recruit new bigs, and to help us tell stories on social media. So there are any number of other ways and that anyone who's interested in helping us to grow the footprint, the programmatic footprint, grow the mission, that we'd love to have their help. This is absolutely a people business. It's all about relationships. I used to work for a place, I won't tell you where,
Okay.
And they would say that San Antonio is a tough market, and I thought, well, what in the world does that mean? Well, it meant that we don't have the same number of corporate headquarters that other larger cities do. But you know what we do have? We've got strong relationships, and that's the name of the game. And that's also the stock and trade of this agency. It's all about building relationships within young people. Well, in order to do that, you've got to have relationship people within to build the relationships externally to make those things happen. And that's what we're doing. And so I invite anyone who's interested in helping to further this important work to join us, because we'd love to have their help.
Do groups, churches, businesses, do they get involved as a group?
They can. They certainly can. We've had groups work at local area churches. Community Bible Church before COVID was part of that network. But we'll work with anyone. Whenever I ask someone if they're interested in this kind of volunteerism, I basically say, do you want to help a child develop into the brightest iteration of themselves? Then let's talk. That's the bottom line. If not, well, perhaps this isn't the right place. But for those that want to help the next generation realize their full, true potential, I'm dying to talk to them, because that means that they're a partner in this work and that they probably have a long game mindset and want to do right by their community. And who doesn't?
Yeah.
Children are the future. Whitney Houston said it best.
Hey, we have just about a couple minutes left. Do we have enough time to get into specifics? You said you needed men. This is going to reach across ethnicities. This will reach across age groups. Are there certain people that really you want their ears to perk up and get interested? Do we have enough time to talk about that?
Sure. I did say we always need men, but in particular we need men of color. There are so many African American and Hispanic boys who just don't have positive male role models in their life, and they need them. Now, I should tell your listeners that as a big sister has the option of being matched to a little boy or a little girl, whereas a big brother can only be matched to a boy. And so I know many big sisters, who are matched to little boys, and that's fine. But as they get older, there are going to be some challenges for those big sisters because they're going to be confronted with hormones and changes and haircuts and other kinds of things that are going to make it a challenge. So we need, especially not just men, but we need men of color. That is so important because many times these mothers, guardians, grandmothers, parents of children will say, you look like you'd make a great big brother, but frankly, I want someone who looks like my child. And we have to honor the parents' wishes in that regard. And that can delay the process because there just simply are not enough men, Hispanic or African American men, saying yes to the call. So we need more of them. So my big call to action to your audience and listeners is to say, gentlemen, if you're a man of color and you want to change a child's life for the better forever, please give us a call because we need you.
That's a perfect place to end. Our guest is Hugh Farr. He is the Chief Development Officer of Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Texas. The website that you can go to learn more about volunteering, donating, anything you need to learn is bigmentor.org, bigmentor.org. We're going to say goodbye for today. Thank you, Hugh, for a great job. I'm Milton Glick. Do me a favor, join us next week as we keep you in the loop.
Thanks for joining us in the loop. We look forward to bringing you next week's show with Milton Glick.